Democrats for years have held former Trump administration advisor Steve Bannon in an elevated place. You see, to them, he's the wizard on the mountain, the man with magical powers, Svengali to deplorables, the white supremacist gatherer, if you will. And 1 year out from the great theft of Donald Trump's presidency, they'd still like to destroy him. Which brings us to the House and Justice Department's latest stunt, indicting Bannon for refusing to testify for their bullshit January 6th commission, which could subject him to a $1,000 per count fine along with imprisonment for a year. Now, according to the New York Times, Stephen K. Bannon, a one-time senior aide to former President Donald J. Trump, was indicted by a federal grand jury on Friday on 2 counts of contempt of Congress after his refusal to provide information to the House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Mr. Bannon, 67, had declined last month to comply with subpoenas from the committee seeking testimony and documents from him. The House then voted to hold Mr. Bannon in criminal contempt of Congress. After holding Mr. Bannon in contempt, the House referred the matter to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington for a decision on whether to prosecute him. Now, this Latin American-style jail your opponent crap hasn't been done in the U.S. since somewhere around 1983. It's effectively unprecedented. Well, not to Eric Holder, not to Lois Lerner either, to take but 2 examples of power abusers who clammed up and truly showed contempt for Congress as well as ordinary citizens. Bannon, though, is special. We'll go over a lot more of the details right after this quick commercial break to pay some bills. Our health and patience have really been challenged, so I found a remedy that works. 100% pure ESS 60 is incredible, and now you can buy it directly from the lab. They call it a miracle molecule because people sleep better, enjoy more energy, and mental focus with a simple spoonful in the morning. You can mix it in your salad, rub it on a steak, or even dip your bread in it. ESS 60 comes in 3 delicious organic oils: olive, avocado, and MCT coconut. This groundbreaking blend supports your immune system with powerful antioxidants and antiviral properties. ESS 60 delivers more than 172 times the power of vitamin C. It's such a powerful antioxidant that it helps neutralize free radicals to assist with detoxification. Don't wait to order your ESS 60 oil directly from the lab. You're going to love it, and it's good for pets too. Get $10 off today at www.c60evo.com/conservative resurgence. That's www.c60evo.com/conservative resurgence, or click that link in the description box. Okay, so as expected, the North Korean-style propagandists over at MSNBC are brimming with coverage of this nonsense on YouTube, as is CNN. NBC actually has a digitally altered image of Bannon on their news video of it, making Bannon look somewhat like a drunk. Go ahead and put Bannon in the YouTube search bar, and that's what you get, of course. It just really goes to show how far gone the Biden administration is in terms of respecting the political balance, precedent, and process. He's got Bannon now simply because his puppet masters have the power, and not for nothing, but once again, where are the Republicans on this? Anyways, one may ask, why might this be happening? Why is the January 6th Commission so desperate to get Bannon to testify in the first place? And just why are they so batshit crazed that he hasn't? We'll start at the root of it, that Biden was never legitimately, well, you know, he's in office by irregularity. The fact that the fracas at the Capitol, which was never more than a crowd control issue, was all about Biden's theft of his current position. The diaper changers, or Bidenites, want to jail anyone involved in it in a draconian way, including Bannon, who wasn't even at the Capitol when it happened, as a means of sending a message to everyone that questions Joe Biden's legitimacy. It's a jailable offense. You see, it's not enough to have control of the media and therefore the entire narrative. Nope. The actual incarceration of citizens is the only thing left for an illegitimate leadership. Well, aside from death squads, of course. So what's the end game, you might ask? To institutionalize the idea that there actually was a coup attempt by Trump. Yet another ridiculous lie that drew him an impeachment. As if such a thing could have happened, with unarmed protesters, unlike how real coups happen. And that would mean that Biden was legitimately elected, right? An innocent victim of dreaded Republican plotters secretly controlled by Steve Bannon against a totally honest and legitimately elected president. Make no mistake, folks, legitimizing Biden's tainted election is what this indictment is all about. Yet, of course, it's completely absurd. Somehow, despite the fact that Bannon wasn't in government, he must have had omnipresent powers such that he could use them to launch a coup. So of course he must testify on their terms, cherry-picking the facts they like and ignoring the significant issues, such as those about the real coup mongers who circled Trump in his final days, like General Mark Milley, who was on the phone with China in a bid to make common cause against Trump. There also were the liars now being exposed from the first Trump presidential impeachment, such as Fiona Hill, who fostered the creation of the Steele dossier with her buddy Chris Steele, hooking him up with creators such as Russian KGB wannabe Igor Danchenko and Democrat operative Charles Dolan. Oh, and let's not forget, this was all before she served as an impeachment witness regarding a phone call which occurred after she had quit her Trump NSC job. She certainly lied to Congress on her knowledge of the dossier in her own bid to launch a coup, just as Milley did as he made his paranoid ravings and got on the phone with the Chinese. You simply cannot make this shit up, folks. Those were real coup attempts, folks, done with the leverage of government power. But who gets indicted here with jail time pending? Just Steve Bannon, who has been a private citizen for years with absolutely no government power. That's the guy who did the coup. Right. The unprecedented nature of this indictment, along with draconian punishment for Bannon, is little more than Biden taking yet another political prisoner. We already know that he governs like a dictator, as a recent judicial ruling striking down his jab mandate shows. We also know that in the related issue of the Capitol riots, who should have been handed notices to appear for trespassing offenses remain jailed to this day in a notorious dungeon, complete with human rights violations. And not for nothing, but we also know that there is an election coming up in 2022, and having Bannon out of the picture would be very convenient for the embattled Democrat Party. There are a lot of political prisoners now in Joe Biden's America whose main crime has been to challenge Joe Biden. So besides Bannon and the Capitol rioters, there's the lunacy of the FBI targeting of investigative journalist James O'Keefe over a story he never even published. There were several other instances of jailings of dissidents in draconian and unprecedented ways in what are all clear abuses of power. Biden's not in office legitimately, so his only way to halt criticism is to make his opponents fear him. As many observers noted, this was a bid to scare all the other potential witnesses into complying with this stacked, Trump-hating congressional kangaroo court. Breitbart News summed up what this really means for Biden in the long term. News of the indictment demonstrates the Biden administration's willingness to pursue former political rivals, opening up future administrations to possible prosecution. Previous American presidential administrations have resisted investigating their former rivals, even after promising during an election to do so, on the merits of protecting executive privilege. So, left skin privilege, in other words, might not be operative if there's a red tidal wave in 2022 and 2024. One side let the other side's purported transgressions go in the name of expecting the other side to follow suit. That's why, or at least I think that's why, Trump never bothered to indict Hillary Clinton for her various email scandals or, for that matter, the creation of the Steele dossier. Now, all bets are off. Hunter Biden had some very interesting things on his laptop. Maybe there will be justice, after all. All the same, this is how it's done in Latin America, as typically each president indicts his predecessor. Nobody expected we'd take that as a how-to guide instead of a caution. But then again, this is our Drooler-N-Chief Joe Biden we're talking about here, a man who shouldn't be allowed within 1,000 feet of a school or public park. Well, that's about it for that one. I'll update as needed. Most of this came by way of the American thinker. If you liked it, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment down below. There's a PayPal link in the description box, so please put $1 in the bucket on the way out the door. I'd like to thank everyone for all your donations. They're much needed and much appreciated. Now, with all that being said, we'll see you next time.
Come on, move. Move. Easy, easy.